go on that side because these lights are out.
Oh yeah.
Just
some people
Just go
haven't
up
heard
around
these
and then
numbered
back down to
stories,
that
and
corner.
some of these numbered stories might be new.
not to kick you out.
So we started off with a couple of our favorites, and we decided we wanted to reenact them or tell them in our own way. So we did. The first story is mine, and I'm glad to present it. Starts 20 years ago this week. At the Holiday Inn. Both Chris and my mom were single at the time, and there was a singles dance, which on the marquee was tied right with an all-you-can-eat buffet. It was relatively inexpensive. So they met on September 5th, 1993, at that singles dance. We don't know what they talked about. We don't know if they danced or not, but we bet it went a little something like this. And as strange as the meeting may have gone, we're glad they did meet because things really started from there. So we wanted to share a couple of these stories with you tonight. We've got a couple of people to tell them. All of these we'll be showing on a slideshow that will be expanded later, but we'll be talking about them all night. But up next is another seminal moment in our union. And for that, we're going to have to welcome my sister, Kitty, to tell this story like nobody else could.
Thank you all for coming. This is one of the best stories, my favorite story, which is why I'm telling it, and I wish I could remember it as myself, but I only remember it as the numbered story. So here it was, their first date, and doorbell rings, I come to the door, and behind Chris, I remember I saw his car first, and if anybody knew what Chris's car was in 1993, we called it the Death Trap. He was very polite. Hey, hi, how's it going? You must be Catherine. I'm here to pick up your mother. We're going out to dinner tonight. And I took one look at the car. I sized him up and down, and I told him, is that the best shirt that you've got? It was a ribbed sweater with a zippered neck. And as precocious as I am, I probably slammed the door and went and got my mom for him. As you can tell in the picture, Mom is very embarrassed. Notice the braided belt. A big piece of his pleated pants back then. And somehow he still ended up dating her after I slammed the door in his face and walked away.
Those are the authentic sneakers from that first day.
Original Jordan of all time. He still owns them.
A lot of this wardrobe is authentic.
And then soon after they met and started dating, there was a situation that came up that Nick is going to talk about next.
Hey everyone. Okay, so Chris really just dived right in. He already had kids. Now he's got a whole bunch of kids, so he dived right into parenthood. And one of the pets that Kitty had was a hamster named Ginger.
Dizzy.
Dizzy?
Yeah.
Dizzy! Oh, sorry, there was
Ginger
another
was
one.
the first one.
There was
Yep.
another one. Okay, so this one was Dizzy because
Yep.
the mouth when it ate. The
Yeah.
thing is that this one likes to get away and get out of its enclosure. And one time it got away, and we found out later that it was just in the closet. It had made a little nest for itself by, tearing things up in the corner. We didn't know that at first. So Chris is on his hands and knees looking for this thing. We're all looking for this thing. We can't find it anywhere. Kitty is little. She's bawling her eyes out. And at one point, because we have cats, at one point she said to Chris, pointing at one of the cats, smell his breath. And Chris had to turn away so she couldn't see him laughing. But this is the story of the smell. And that is Jasmine dressed up as a cat.
That's supposed to be a cat.
Yeah. You notice Kitty's bangs. Yes. And he's smelling the cat's breath.
While Jennifer's comforting me.
Yeah, those are all authentic clothes as well. Those are all real.
Nick is obviously in the back reading a book.
I don't remember, some of these stories I don't remember, so we're just going to imagine that I was there, but I was in the book. Alright, Sammy's next. She's got the next story.
So the first summer we came to visit, we'd gotten to know each other for the first time ever. And Christopher, being as neurotic as he was, decided to write a letter to his best friend Jason Verber back home about all the things that he'd seen in his, new family and everything that was going on. And he was a little bit of an odd child. So he decided to write a rough draft of this letter that he was sending to his best friend. Well, when he was finished, he mailed the lovely copy and then ripped the rough draft into a bunch of pieces and threw it in the trash can. So what else would two little sisters do but pick those pieces out of the trash can and tape them together? We're not really sure what the letter said to this day, but I do remember it did talk about Angela Kelly's butt.
It was a phase.
Please note the 90210 box.
Yeah.
Authentic. Let's let Christopher tell one of his favorite stories.
So I'm going to tell the story about moving our wonderful uncle Stephen J. Moore from Beverly, Massachusetts down here to Frederick, Maryland. Now, it was quite an experience. We started out the day, it was me, my father, Kevin David, Stephen, and Brian, my cousin Brian. No, not yet. The first thing we got was, Chris, I've got t-shirts for all of you. They say, property of the Beverly Union Club, size 2XL. Now, this was a great experience moving Stephen from his third floor walk-up, okay, in a U-Haul for 10 hours. Okay? Huh? Now, Stephen wasn't much of a mover. He was more of a manager. Okay? So as we were bringing down pieces of furniture like a bed, we were bringing down a chair that he slept in, where there were some craft singles that fell out.
Oh.
Stephen would delegate for us, and once in a while we'd see him bringing a couple pillows down and helping us out. When we got to Maryland, everyone was very excited to be here, be done with that drive. And when we arrived, the girls were here, Jennifer was there, and Jennifer David was there. And as part of this story was the unloading of the van. Now, Stephen took on his normal role of delegating and managing, and as part of that role, his instructions to Jen David were, be careful, that's a mirror. Now, there are several things that I want to point out in this picture, okay? First being the property of Beverly Union Club shirts that we're all wearing. Kevin's is original, okay? Stephen has on a Rose's shirt. He's wearing sandals with socks. While delegating, he has a cigarette in his hand. These are his actual pair of glasses.
Original glasses.
Original glasses. And he has his normal boy's haircut, which he was known for getting for 50 years.
A regular boy's haircut.
Regular boy's haircut. Now, Kitty will talk about one of our favorite stories of all time.
This is a story that comes up a lot. We were really fortunate to have probably the coolest parents out of all the other parents. We could have friends stay over, stay the night and go to school with us the next day.
Besides that one summer where we all had to go to bed at 10 o'clock.
That's true. That's true. That happened. But there was always this, but this must have been, 10 plus years ago when they still had a television in their bedroom. And the worst thing that could happen was that Chris would wake up. Because if he woke up, he would switch on the Sports Center full blast. Jennifer would get no sleep. So very politely, no matter what we're doing with all of our friends and how loud and carrying on we are, she would just calmly come downstairs and knock on the little door and have one of those moments where she's telling us to be quiet. So the first one is, guys, can you just keep it down for a moment? You know, if Chris wakes up, he's just gonna turn on the television. I'm glad you're having fun. You guys sound like it's a really good time in here. Guys, I understand that you're playing Mario Kart. You guys look like you're having a lot of fun, but could you just keep it down a little bit? If Chris wakes up, I'll be up all night. Guys, I know it's New Year's Eve. You guys are having a really great time and it's 4 a.m. But you really shouldn't be up here in the attic. You have to come downstairs. She always had her eyes completely closed and her robe completely bunched and her little slippers on. That's her bathrobe. That is her bathrobe. Next is a really great story for Adam.
I like that last story quite a bit. It's entirely accurate and eerie to see my sister dressed up as my mother. She pulls it off really well. Okay. Okay, so our summers were spent together, all the kids here in the house, and it was usually close quarters, and we had different sleep schedules. Some of us chose to sleep in, and some of us woke up earlier.
Oh.
At that point, I don't know, he's more responsible now, but see, he liked to sleep in the great room, the middle room upstairs, and one of the things that happened to be in that great room, and was no other place in the house, was video games. And he would sleep in really late, and I started to get, yeah, it's a problem. I started to get impatient with waiting for him to wake up, and so I decided to do this. We call it the stepbrothers sandwich. You literally fold the mattress in half to wake him up. Mind you, he's entirely asleep while this is happening. And yeah, those aren't stunt feet. He really does bend in half. This happened more than once. The first time came as a surprise to me as well. I didn't know I was going to do it. It just happened, and then it became a thing. But I'm sure there's more than one way to tell this story, so I'm actually going to let Christopher tell his part.
So my remembrance of the story is very different. My remembrance was that I was always the one who got up first in the morning. And the reason I got up first in the morning is because I wanted to do the list of chores that Jennifer left for us. Okay? We would have the list of chores and I was the responsible one, okay? Neurotic. So I could get up, do the chores, and then no one was around, so I could play video games. So then I would go to bed 10 o'clock, 11, 12 o'clock, and everyone else would stay up playing the video games. So it's the middle of the night. I am fast asleep, and all of a sudden, I'm folded on top into 2 pieces with 2 of my brothers on top of me. Now that is the way I remember this story happening. And it happened hundreds of times.
Nick is up next.
Nick's up next. Continuing to talk about my neuroses.
I'm really excited to tell this story, but it's not fair because there's like 1,000 things that happened. Anyone who's seen the slideshow up there, who saw those camping pictures, I think we went once or twice.
2 times.
2 times. But there are so many stories. But this is only the one story that I get to tell. So we took the death trap and the Jeep, the red Jeep. We drove to the campsite, and we got the tent unpacked and everything. We're all ready to go. But there is a problem. The camping site has a big sign near all of the individual sites. They're all demarcated. They have numbers. They have a big sign that says only 1 car per lot. So we brought 2 cars. I mean, clearly they didn't think it was a problem, but at least one of us thought it was a real problem that we had 2 cars, because any minute a park ranger or something was going to show up and tell us we were going to have to leave because we can't just leave one car. So that was the issue. He is a little neurotic. It's my brother Christopher, and this is the picture.
Jaga, where did you just go, Chris?
Jaga.
So that is an authentic Vikings that Mom wore to camping.
That's me.
I've never seen Catherine look more like Jennifer in my life. Can you see that?
I wish I could zoom in on that guy.
And that's the bullying right there, by the way.
Good
All right.
wig.
Next, Sammy. Oh, here's another classic. Easter classic.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, this is done for Chris's benefit.
Chris, can you come back, please, now?
Chris Moore. Will Chris Moore please report to the putting green? Where'd he go? To get a beer? Seriously?
Beer? Raise your hand and have somebody
Fucker.
bring you a beer.
Right.
He's old. He has a small bladder. Don't judge him. We'll give him a second, okay?
This is a Flomax moment. Yeah, no,
Numbered story, walking away in the middle of a
Does
presentation.
anybody remember the time my father walked away while we were giving him that 20th Union presentation?
I was there. I remember.
And trust me, that's
The only story Nick actually remembers.
That's momentous.
Okay, he's back.
No, he is? Where?
I see the bounce.
Oh no,
That's not him.
That's J-Mo. Sounds like my father, Justin.
What?
He's changing the kid.
He's changing. This is for your benefit.
Mother.
You know, the night crawlers have to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about them night crawlers? They're pretty awesome.
All right, Jaga.
Sit down, Jaga. So, when I was in 6th grade, my mom signed me up to play softball. Now, I want you to know now, I was not any good, okay? I played week after week, I practiced, and it just wasn't my thing. I have asthma, okay? They stuck me in the outfield, and I wasn't any good. But let me tell you, my dad was so proud of me. Softball was kind of his thing. Now, I know that you all know him as the golf guy, but way before golf, he was the softball guy. And so one year, we went to a Wells Fargo company picnic. It was like 98 degrees. It was so hot. But my father signed us both up to play the softball game, okay? And he was like, so excited to have me there and have me playing on his team with him that anytime he introduced me to one of his friends or one of his coworkers, he couldn't even get turn it into a whole sentence. He's like, this is my daughter Sam, she ball player. She ball player. All one word. All one word. Let's have Chrissy tell one more story.
So this is one that I get continually made fun of constantly. And so speaking to what I was before about how I was always the first one up. And we would every morning get a list of chores that would say, Chris, do this, Katie, do this, Nick, do this. And I'm the first one up, and I'm always nervous. There's only 8 hours till Jennifer gets home, so I just better do all the chores. So I would get up, I'd clean the house, I'd do everything. Everyone else would lounge around, okay? And so to play a joke on me one time.
Only time.
All the time. 4:45 rolls around. Kitty gets on the phone and says, Chris, Mom's on the phone. She said you need to sweep the dirt floor basement.
She'll be home in 15 minutes.
So, did I do that and sweep the dirt floor basement?
Yes,
You bet I did.
you did.
You bet I went downstairs and swept that whole dirt floor basement to the best of my ability.
There's a lot of numbered stories, but this next one I want to say is the best.
This is the best.
This is the best one.
We'll leave it up to Al.
And it'll be the
Remember
last.
this one.
Nick was there for this.
'Twas the night before Christmas.
Yes.
This is 1996, everybody. Thank you, Mom. You know what we're talking about now.
First year in the house.
Yeah, first year in the house. We'd only been here for about 3 months. One of the best features, and one of the only ways to heat the place at the time, aside from baseboard heat, there was a fireplace in the living room. It's still there now. It's
a wood stove.
Wood stove, right. Now it's gas, but at that point, we were still bundling logs on the side of the house and burning them, whatever. We needed to. So we had this big family get-together in our brand new house. Everyone was there. Dean was there. Absolutely.
Chris's mother.
Chris's mother was there. Yeah, she was there.
She broke the television.
Broke it. But it was a full house. We're all in school, but we're all here, and we're all here to enjoy it. So Chris decides that on Christmas Eve, we're going to have a fire in the fireplace. So he decides to take the ashes that are in the fireplace currently from the day before, and he's going to clean it out. He's got a lot of options for cleaning out this fireplace. He chooses a paper bag.
Yeah. Notice the ashes are still glowing.
I like that picture.
Notice the fire bucket right next to it.
So he decides, okay, I've safely disposed of these ashes. I'm going to put them outside. But all the way outside is kind of a big distance.
It's cold out.
It's cold out. It's December, so I'm just going to put them on the side porch.
Right next to these fireworks and gasoline. This picture may have been enhanced for comedic effect.
The mustache is entirely authentic. Thank you, Christopher, for growing a mustache.
It's red.
Mind you, at this point, he thinks nothing of it and goes to bed. Well, it's the holidays, and we're all in school, so all of our friends are hanging out. And it's a good thing that they were, too, because on this particular night, one of our good friends, Casey, where are you at, Casey?
Right there.
Right there.
Save the day.
Save the day. He was going to leave for the night, being somewhat responsible, and as he got downstairs, he noticed that the entire house was full of smoke. So everyone's asleep. Everyone is asleep, even me. So he comes back upstairs and he asks a very simple question to Nick and our friend Wes. Is the house supposed to be full of smoke? My friends are very, very proactive. And they leap into action. Do they call the fire department immediately and wake the parents?
No.
No!
No, they don't.
Chris will turn on Sports Center.
No. We got this.
We got this.
We got this. So they seek out the source of the smoke, and they don't see any flames necessarily. But they do open the side porch, and they see a gaping hole, rectangular, paper bag shape, in the floor, and they decide to form their own bucket brigade. With towels over their faces and every implement they can find or vessel full of water, they decide that they're going to tackle the blaze themselves.
With Dixie cups. There were small cups.
Hey, we got this.
We got this. Eventually, however, conventional wisdom did rule out when they started to see flame. I remember waking up and being out of the house in 5 seconds, and I slept up top. I didn't even care for my loved ones. I was out of the house.
Nobody woke me up. I was in my room with the cat, and I looked out the window, and everybody was standing outside except for me, and I didn't really know what was going on. Jean with her broken arm.
So we all had to evacuate the house. The fire department came. And luckily, the building did not burn down. But if you want to see the remnants of the blaze, I'll show you later. So that's our presentation. We'd like to thank you all for coming.
Woo!
We know that there's a lot more party left in us tonight. The night callers will be back up in a bit. We wanted to... what's going on? What's this now?
Oh, guys, if you could just keep it down, though, because it's getting late, and I want to It's I'm really glad you guys having fun at the hashtag 20 Union, but could you just keep it down? It's late, and we've got to take Nana to the airport in the morning. Nana, we're sorry. Sorry, Nana.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks to everyone who was involved, all of my siblings, to Casey, to Kevin, to James, to everybody who was there. We're going to later, and in a couple of minutes, we'll have the night callers back. So, I think enough for the fun. It's on us.
Tip your bartenders.
Tip your bartenders.